Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you back to the April community chat for the ALS Association Oregon and Southwest Washington chapter. I'm a development director here, and I'm so excited to introduce our guest today. Arturo Gonzalez is proud to be a board member at the ALS Association. Originally from Mexico, he came to Portland after his mom passed away from ALS in 2017. He now works in the private sector as a planning director. He's an impassioned ALS fundraiser. Arturo participates in the Walk to Defeat ALS every year to help the chapter provide services like the ALS Clinic and Loan Closet because he knows firsthand how valuable these resources are to families experiencing the challenges of ALS. Chelsey's going to be our interviewer today, and she is our special events manager here at the chapter. So I look forward to following along to this great conversation, and thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, Arturo. It is so great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us for our community chat today.
Hi, Chelsey. Thank you so much for having me.
So I know it was mentioned that your mother had ALS. Can you share a little bit more about your family and how you came to know about what ALS was?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm originally from Mexico. My mom was from Argentina. My dad from Mexico, and me and my sister we were both born in Mexico. My mother was diagnosed early in 2014 with ALS, and that was a disease that it was pretty well known in Argentina, but not in Mexico. So when we first were told that she had ALS and we're given, some sound bites and you Google some stuff, we're like, okay, this is a serious thing. But there was not a lot of knowledge about the disease and how to treat it and how to get prepared to live with it, especially with your mother. So one of the things that we started sort of hoping for was just reaching out to different spaces on how to deal with it. We were super lucky to get in contact with, I would say, the ALS chapter that works in Houston, Texas. And we're given some guidance around how to deal with it and what to expect, which was super useful. And at the end of the day, she obviously, unfortunately, lost the battle to ALS in March in 2017. So after that, I just decided that it was just one of the many battles that I was going to be planning to fight against ALS. I decided to commit myself and my time from then on to find a cure. And yeah, that's how me and my family got involved in ALS.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Arturo. Yes, ALS is quite a lot to wrap your mind around, and we're so happy to have you on the board and showing your support to the rest of the ALS community. So why did you, I know we do a lot of events throughout the year, but why did you decide to get involved in the Walk to Defeat ALS in particular?
I would say it was a little bit of a conscience of timing and just where I was. As I told you, March 2017, my mom passed away. I was living in Mexico at the moment. And then August 2017, I moved here into Portland to work for the company that I work right now. And I got involved with the chapter through a volunteering opportunity. And the first big event that was coming up was the Walk to Defeat ALS. Back then, it was held in September. So it holds a special place in my heart that it was the first time I was involved in such an event organized by such a special community, and that's the reason I always like to be part of the Walk to Defeat ALS.
Well, that is great to hear. We are super excited about the walk and to be back in person, and we're very much looking forward to having you and your team back. Tell us what you like about participating in the walk. Specifically, like, do you like the camaraderie of it, the inspiration? Tell us what you enjoy about it.
I think I'm an engineer and I always look at things like what's this and how does that translate into that. And when I thought about the event itself, I look at it very objectively and I said, well, it's an opportunity for me to create a team, to bring funds, to raise awareness. And that's what I want to do. So I did that. And I stepped into the walk, and I remember the day I got there, it was a very different experience, and it's something. It's a feeling that it's hard to describe. I would say you need to be there, and you need to be part of that event to get it. I would say if I'm trying to describe it, the first thing I would say is like I started feeling sad because I saw a lot of people dealing with ALS and a lot of family and friends dealing with people dealing with ALS. Sorry. And to be honest, it reminded me of my mother. But at the same time, I was very, very inspired to see people just fighting to stay alive, just fighting to have a decent sort of quality of life, which is so hard. And in my mind, it was like, if they are doing that, dealing with ALS, we can do a lot more. Those who have felt what ALS is, but we're not sort of dealing with that disease ourselves. So for me, that's the thing. That's the feeling of maybe belonging to a group, that you may be walking with a lot of people. You probably don't know 99% of them, but you know that 100% of them are connected to you in what that means for us, which is defeating ALS. So again, it's a hard feeling to describe, but I would say if you're part of it and you're connected to the ALS, I will highly encourage you to be part of the event and just go through those feelings, because it's, in a way, it's healing and it's inspiring for you.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Well, you always do a fantastic job with fundraising and rallying your team for the walk. What tips do you have for other participants on how they can be successful with their fundraising?
That's a really good question, I would say. And I would say that the first time I started raising funds, I was even a little bit ashamed of just asking people for money for something that I was connected, but I was not aware if they were connected or not. And what I found over the years is that there are three things that I realized, which are great about the community here in Portland, Oregon, well, in Oregon and South Washington, and with people living with ALS, that you need to tap to be successful at raising funds. The first one is, I would just say, be proud about what you're doing. So if you're raising $50, if you're raising $1,000, if you're just bringing awareness to what is the disease, you need to be very proud. This is a great cause. You're helping a lot of people try to deal with a disease that right now there's no cure, so they just need to deal with it, and we're trying to get a step closer to that. When you're proud like that, I think it's easier for you just to then be open to connect with people that you haven't even known potentially. And in a way, at least for me, I've met a lot of new friends just doing that, sending emails out, sharing the emails from the chapter, sharing the emails to my personal page and saying, hey, this is how I'm involved and I know ALS. And if you want to help, you can do it through, this link and this page. And people reach back to you and say, hey, this is amazing. I had a friend, I knew someone. And all of a sudden you create new relationships, new connections. And the bigger the community, the more support you will get for you and for your team, and eventually for the mission, which is to defeat ALS. And that's potentially the second one. For me, the mission is something that you always need to keep top of mind. The mission is to defeat ALS. In the last 2 years, everyone knows that we've been dealing with a lot of weird things going on in the world, like COVID, and not everyone is in a position to maybe support you from a fundraising perspective, give you money, so to speak. So if the mission is to defeat ALS, they can also do that by bringing awareness. And that's something that is free and everyone can do. So that's the second thing I will encourage you to do when you reach out to people, to give them the option, right? Hey, you can help me like this, and that will be great. But if not, at least walk with me, or at least, share this link in your website, in your Facebook page, wherever, so people are more and more aware. Again, for me, the mission is to bring awareness to more people just around what ALS and what is and what the chapter is doing to defeat that. And last but not least, and maybe this is not for everyone, but just understand what tools you have around you to make your funds, the funds that you raise, maybe have a more meaningful impact. In my case, for example, I work for an amazing company that has this program that will match 100% of the donations that every employee does. So what I do is I share these with sort of a group of employees that I know that are connected with me, friends, or friends of friends. And when they donate some money, the company will match that. And in a way, in the last few years, what that has translated is that I've been able to duplicate the efforts I bring every year to the chapter, and that just feels great. Those are the three things I would say for any sort of beginner or newbie trying to look to raise funds that have worked for me in the past.
Well, those are some great tips. And I don't think you could have said it any better in terms of, everything helps, whether it's fundraising or even spreading awareness. Every little bit makes a huge impact for the ALS community. So, what do you hope we as an ALS community can accomplish in the future?
That's a big word, right? Hope. I would say that in my mind it's very simple. I think the ALS community, the ALS chapter all around North America and hopefully around the world, is to support the community that live with ALS. In my mind, that is being done through funds. You need money to support people that go with ALS. But I also like to bring the hope word out of it and maybe even be more bold around finding a cure. And what I really, really want is for us to state ourselves and say, hey, can we find a cure by no later than 2030? Because I believe that, yes, people dealing with ALS is super tough. But one thing that will always bring them hope or just something to look forward is that we're actually bringing some action, some true efforts, if that makes sense, to find a cure. That should be the ultimate goal, in my opinion, of that community and the chapter. And the only way to do that is by joining efforts with as many people as we can to bring the funds, to bring awareness, and hopefully bring a group of very smart individuals working on a cure that will, come to life one day.
Definitely. Yes, that is the ultimate goal, is to find a cure so we can no longer hear the words, I have ALS again. Well, thank you so much, Arturo, for sharing your story with us. And again, for joining us on the community chat and sharing your fundraising tips as well. We, again, cannot wait to see you for the walk this year at the Oregon Zoo. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll be there, and it's going to be a great year now coming back to, person to person.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I now love to share some more information about the walk with those who are watching in these next few slides. So we are full throttle into our 2022 Walk to Defeat ALS season. After a long 2 years, I am so excited to finally be back in person with you all. Next slide, please. We are holding 6 walks all throughout Oregon and Southwest Washington. Our first one is coming up in just about a week. This is the Southern Oregon Walk, held on April 30th at Bear Creek Park in Medford. Then the next day is the Central Oregon Walk, held on May 1st at Riverbend Park in Bend. After that, we have our State Capitol Walk on May 14th at Riverfront Park in Salem. Then the next day on May 15th, we are holding the Willamette Valley Walk at Bethel Community Park in Eugene. Then next, we have the Portland Metro Walk at the Oregon Zoo this year, which is a new location we're very excited about. And that's on Saturday, May 21st. And then the next day, the Southwest Washington Walk at Esther Short Park in Vancouver on May 22nd. All of these walks begin at 10 a.m. except for the Portland Walk, which begins bright and early at 7:30 a.m. Next slide. We would love to have everyone join us at whichever walk is nearest you. If you're not already registered, you can do so online at www.defeatalsoregon.org, which we will also add in the chat. Or you can give me a call directly and I can sign you up using my information on the screen there. The walk is free to attend and we make fundraising super easy for you. Next slide. Once you register, follow these tips to help you meet your fundraising goal. Customize your personal page with a photo and story about why you're participating. You can also send an email to your network through your page. Another great way to fundraise is through connecting your page to your Facebook to ask for donations through social media. We can also help you draft and send out a letter in the mail to your friends and family. And you can ask your company if they have a matching gift program. This is something that Arturo has mentioned that he does. And then last but not least, you can always make a self-donation. Next slide. If you want to support the walk and ALS community in another way rather than participating in the event, we would love to have you volunteer. You can sign up for a volunteer role online at www.alsoregon.org/volunteer, which again, we will add in the chat, or you can give me a call. Opportunities include help with setup, all-day event support such as registration, snacks, route guides, and more, and help with breakdown. We truly could not run these events without the help of our amazing volunteers. Next slide. Remember, whether it's participating in the Walk to Defeat ALS and fundraising or volunteering, you are creating an impact in the lives of people living with ALS and their families. Your support leads us closer to finding treatments and cures for ALS and helps us continue critical care services for families battling ALS across Oregon and Southwest Washington. That's all I have for you today. We hope you can join us at a walk near you this year, and I am happy to answer any questions that come up in the chat.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for that really fun and inspiring conversation. I look forward to my first walk this year. And I think, Chelsey, you left out one thing, and that's how amazingly supportive your team is for walk participants. Don't feel like you're on your own with fundraising or registration. Chelsey and the group here at the chapter are with you every step of the way. So you get a lot of support and education and training and everything you need to make your event successful. So thanks for all that you do to make our walks fulfilling and successful. So I'm going to let you guys all go. I'm down in cloudy Kuzma of our supporters, and I look forward to sharing this presentation with them coming soon. Thank you guys. Thank you, Chelsey.
Thanks, Arturo.
Take care.
Bye.